Hi, everybody. Welcome to a festive season edition of the Thrive and Survive Research Hub podcast. I have my co-host and partner in crime, his name is Zender, with me here today. T, how are you on this fine day?
I'm very well, Alex. How are you doing, eh?
Fantastic. Feeling well rested, getting some much needed time in the sun. But yeah, so I think I'll kick us off today with a question for T. So we're in the festive season, and I think a lot of people go into it with this mindset of I've been working so hard the whole year. I really just need some time to recharge and rest. How do you approach the festive season without self-destructing and sabotaging all of the progress you've made on your goals throughout the year?
Great question, and I think very relevant as well. But I mean, I guess the reality of like the new way to survive in the new construct of the world is to master balance, right?
Mhm.
So gone are the days where you could, of course, depending on your age as well, but because there's so much more to do, and I think humans in general are more ambitious than they've ever been. The opportunity to stay in balance and within a rhythm of momentum is extremely essential towards your accumulated results of your medium to long term success. So,
Mm.
if you look at success and you're a young individual and you approach festive seasons like this, you also tend to be extra careful in how you deal with them because they can disrupt. And for me, like I said, it's just not doing things in excess. I always speak of not doing things in out of moderation and doing everything in moderation too.
Right.
I think it's those small things that help you to still have a good time, but
Yeah.
not to the point of diminishing returns. And when the new year starts, you then start off on a high, not a low, then you're able to continue working at the intensity that you would before the holidays. So that's just how I do it, maintaining balance. Yes, enjoying myself, um, but doing it within moderation and doing it repetitively while doing all my other activities that I would do on a day to day. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's how I get about it, bro. In a long story short, the art of balance. And
Awesome.
I mean, what is your approach to it, eh?
I love that. No, I think yeah, you made so many good points there that we can like expand on. So like balance, I think people confuse balance a lot because there's this image in your head that balance needs to be 50-50. Work-life balance. But for me, balance is like a seesaw that's constantly shifting depending on the needs of the season. Depending on the time of the year. But
Yeah,
you should never let any part of your life completely get neglected.
yeah,
So the way I would approach that is like now we go into the festive season. Most people have more free time, right? Most people have more free time. So the
yeah,
swing is now shifting from like what your commitments are, professional versus personal. Now that the swing has shifted, you now have more time for your personal commitments, being your relationships, your
yeah,
your own well-being, you know, your goals, things like that. But you should still be mindful of your professional commitments. So like I
yeah,
said, don't neglect it entirely. Even if it's just taking 30 minutes to write with a pen and a piece of paper, what your goals are for next year or reflecting. And we can talk more about reflection later on in the pod because I think that's also very important. But like just doing something little for your professional side can go a long way and just keep you in that, they say if you always stay ready, you never have to get ready. Like it just keeps
yeah. 100%,
you in that mental frame of mind. And then
100%.
the thing you said there about momentum. So momentum is huge. And
Yeah,
often we end the year at a place of, if you're a high performer, you're ending it on a place of peak momentum. I know there's a lot of people around you that tend to go when you hit the festive season, they're like slow, go on the slow. But
Yeah,
on the guys that are high performers are like, okay, I want to get as much done as possible before the office closes so that I can rest with this in mind, you know.
100%, 100%.
I think with momentum, often we go into the festive season and we just drop everything completely. And we decide, okay, I have to do the maximum amount of self-destruction because that's what everyone around me does. You know, most people in
Yeah,
the festive season, they drink way too much, they eat way too
yeah,
much rubbish, they don't sleep a lot.
yeah,
Um, you know, you're with your family, which can sometimes be stressful, you know, if you've especially if you've got like in-laws and cousins and all of those things, you know, interpersonal relationships are complicated. So what should be like a loving Christmas experience can also be stressful depending on your relationships, you know.
yeah, yeah, of course,
So
of course. And what and also depending on what's happening, right?
exactly,
During that time of the year.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, that was just me like recapping what you said there, which I really liked. For me personally, I look at it as every day is a day in your life, and you should
Yeah,
be the same person every day. You can shift the intensity, which I think you should, because you can't
yeah,
go sprinting the whole year. So going into the festive season is useful to slow down,
yeah,
but your character should be the same. And, you know, I was thinking to myself this morning, like, give yourself permission to live up to your own high standards that you've set for yourself,
yeah,
regardless of what everybody else says. So, I mean, for me, every day I need to do something that's good for my body. I need to do something that's good for my mind. And that's the standard that I set for myself, and that's what makes me happy.
yeah,
Uh, you
yeah,
know, some other people might look at me and be like, "What are you doing? It's holidays." But like, that's what I want to do on my holiday. So
of course, of course, of
that's why I
course.
say, give yourself permission to be you during the festive
Yeah.
season, you know?
And I like how you said that about obviously give yourself the time to be you, and also, um, you know, assessing whether what you're doing is either draining you or recharging you.
Exactly.
And you spoke about the empty spaces or the change of priorities during the festive season. It's very like critical to monitor that. And I'd like to give an example with regards to my personal life. So obviously, because I'm not doing business during this time of the year, I have an extra 8 hours, bro, to really look at what I can do to aid myself or progress myself. And one of the things that I chose or that I do as a hobby is golf. So I was like, okay, cool. During this festive season, what recharges me? What is therapeutic that actually aids into my overall well-being? Because I don't want to just waste this amount of time. Yes, I want
Right.
to spend more time with family and stuff like that. But from a hobby perspective, I now have the opportunity to allocate more time to this. And the goal is to become have a single digit score at golf.
Right.
So I use this time to get ahead for that goal because I know that it's not there all the time. And it's been so great. Like I feel great. I'm exercising at the same time. I mean, golf is quite a serious sport, so I'm also getting to meet some really interesting people. And then when I come home, I feel energized.
Right.
Even if I do have a drink or two, it's moderated and I spend time with my family. So for me, this time has really been a period where I almost say it's my leapfrogging time,
Yes.
where you get ahead while
Yes.
having fun
Right.
and do things that recharge you so that when you start off the year, you are out the starting blocks.
Well said.
It's very easy to do things that you enjoy but drain you.
Exactly.
And you have too much draining going on, then the battery needs more time to charge. And you don't always need that depending on your plans for the following year.
Right. And that's where that principle of moderation comes in, right? I mean, you speak about it a lot, and I'm a big fan on it. Is too much of anything will destroy you.
Yeah.
And, I think that is one of the problems that people often have in the festive season, is they think that there's an expectation on them to consume in excess. And I almost feel like there's a pressure because of society and because of culture. You're essentially being bombarded with messaging about overconsumption. I mean, all of the festive season shopping, you know, I mean, it also wrecks lots of people's finances because there's this
Yeah.
immense pressure.
To say it again,
Yeah, you got to
100%.
eat out every day. You got to buy everybody a bunch of gifts. You have your Christmas Eve, you have Christmas, you have New Year's, you have this, you have that. Um, yeah, and people lose themselves. That's the thing that I guess I wanted to say is like I often think about whatever changes around you, your character should stay the same.
Yeah,
Location, time of year, people. You can let the world dictate to you who you should be, or you can dictate to the world who you are. And that's on you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's okay to let different like environments bring out different sides of you, but your core principles must always be in place. And I think moderation and self-control is a great principle to always keep with you at all times.
yeah, yeah, yeah.